Hello, my name is Tamar Frank. I'm based in the Netherlands near Amsterdam, and I am an artist that works with light. Okay, so I've been working with light for 25 years now, and my background is fine arts. That's how I started. I just went to fine arts school, and I was at the painting department, and there I kind of was fascinated by color and depth of color, and I tried to capture that in painting, but somehow I couldn't get that kind of depth of color that I was looking for. So one day I got so frustrated that I just punctured a hole in the canvas, and I put it by the side of the window. And the next morning I entered the studio and I saw this light shining through the hole in the canvas, and there happened to be like a transparent orange paper behind it, which completely lit up. And that was the moment that I discovered that color in lights is something that I could never achieve with painting. And from there on, my journey with light began. Yeah, I am self-taught, but for me it started more also about kind of what light does within a space, because that's where my journey began. Is that first I was looking at more the properties of light and color, and then I continued by making a box, which I put in front of the window, and I was kind of like with a theater, kind of sliding all sorts of different materials in and out of the box and seeing what happened with the light. And the box, became a space in when photographing it. And from there on, I realized that I had to start working large scale. So I already started making my first light installation at my graduation show. And just 1 year after graduating, I did my first public space art commission. And I guess very soon I realized that working with lights and making large scale installations was not going to cut it at a gallery, or it's not the kind of thing that you can sell to individuals. So my aim was very much for working in the public space and focusing on public art commissions. The introduction of LEDs have changed things, but it took me a while to really make use of that, because in essence I first started working with daylight, and then I went from daylight to artificial light, mostly because in working with light I would be asked to make things when it's dark. So then I was looking for a source that could replace daylight, which was very kind of neutral. So I was working with fluorescent lamps, with the tube lights. And then when LED came, I thought in the beginning there was too much happening, like too much of effects, and like suddenly everyone could just press a button and something would happen with light. So before I could make use of that, I really had to find a reason. And so at first I was just using LED as a replacement, once again, of fluorescent lights. And then very gradually I started also making use of the possibility of kind of programming and interaction and motion. So it was a kind of slow process. So here you see the 4 panels I made called In Nusum, and it's part of a series of 20 panels which I made when I had my anniversary of doing a 20 years of art practice, and I wanted to really make a book, but I was kind of looking for how I could find funding to make a book. And I thought, well, maybe for the occasion, I can try and make something that's sellable, because I always make these very large scale works, which is impossible to buy for an individual. So it was really like a tryout for me, and I made them in a series of 20, and there are 20 transitions, which very slowly change, and they are the light changes are inspired by how light changes over the course of a day, and it's always kind of light is like a presence, and that's how I wanted to capture it. Like it's not something that is a show that you can really see, oh, something is happening, something's changing there. It's just like there, and you observe it or you don't. And that's how I wanted to incorporate it in this panel. But these small panels are actually kind of children of a larger panel, which I made for a public art commission. That's my latest like really large public art commission for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in The Hague. And I made a kind of a similar panel to this, which is like 8 meters high and 3.5 meters wide, and it's really in the public space, but it's kind of it's a covered space. It's how do you call it? A sheltered area, kind of. So it's not completely open air, but it's public space where people can walk through when they come from the station to walking towards the center. And there I connected, just going back to how I've used technology. Here I have used technology in a light program, because there are different light programs that are connected to how light literally changes over the course of a day. But I have a program that is being activated, for example, when the sun rises. I have a program that is being activated when it's just midday. I have a program that is being activated when it becomes dark. But I also have a program that's being activated when the moon rises. And that is a very interesting one, because of course the moon rises at a different time every day. So you kind of get a sense of place also with the movement of the celestial movement of lights. Well, inspiration for me is like the natural light, but also like light phenomena. Nature is an inspiration for me, and I like to look at natural processes, but I'm also inspired by space and environment and urban environments. And I'm inspired by kind of the meaning of a place. So, and that's now becoming more evident especially in the latest commissions I'm working on. And because I'm very abstract work, I just work with color and form, but I do have some examples where the form kind of obtains a meaning as well. For example, once I was asked to do a commission for a person, and the form that I used was a circle, and that the circle actually became the first letter of the name, the family name that he was called, which was O with the umlauts. But I'm also the people I'm inspired by. Sometimes I'm very much inspired by other artists. like an artist that I very much admire is Alexandra Stradomirovich. I'm inspired just by how, you know, the workforce and the amazing work she makes, but also the scope of what she does as a female light artist. And then, of course, my peers, which I discovered when I was still a student, that was a revelation for me when I discovered James Turrell. And I mean, it's a very obvious thing to say, but he shows the essence of space and light, and also like what I aim to achieve in sensing light as just something that you can't grasp but is always there. I move very much, like I said before, in the public art commission realm, more so than in the kind of the high art gallery realm. But my experience there is that of course, working on site, like building sites, is a very like male dominated area, and many times I would be the only female there, and you do kind of sometimes encounter this, again, like kind of the assumption that you do not know things. And it's sometimes it's in very small things, but sometimes it like at one point I was doing an art commission and it turned out to be like an absolute disaster, because the man who was responsible for doing the installation just started making decisions for me, because he was a man, I think, because he did not want to even like go down to ask. So yeah, that's kind of painful, but I think it's also now there's very much there seems to be something in the air where more organizations are kind of coming together to make platforms for female artists. A poll has been made in the Netherlands where like 3% apparently of female artists are represented in the most important museums in the world, which is a pretty shocking figure. And since, you know, this is now gaining more attention, not only in the art world, but now in the world of lights, and I think in other areas, yeah, I think that's a good thing. What would I say to younger artists working with light? It's just, you know, do your thing and don't let other people get in your heads, and believe in yourself, which is very basic, but it's the truth, because every time when you start listening to other people, or other people start messing with your mind, it can only go downhill from there. Just you know yourself what the right thing is to do, and yeah, that's the simple truth. Yeah.